Hello and welcome to another Spectrum Geeks video. My name is Dale, and in today's video we're going to do something about these standard mirrors on my Honda CB1000R Neo Cafe Sports Racer. We're going to install the SW-Motech mirror extensions along with the mirror sports set, kind of improve the styling a little bit and make it so I can see a bit more than just my shoulders when I'm riding on this bike. So the mirrors on the Honda CB1000 actually aren't too bad, decent size, but I didn't want to go for bar end mirrors because I have some other plans I want to have for there. But even though they work well, I still get a little bit of shoulder in them, so I decided, because I've got a road trip coming up, I'm going to spend a bit of money on this bike, even though I've had it for 5 years now, and put the SW-Motech mirrors on and the extensions. I did originally plan to get some RNG extenders for these that would have kind of pushed them out a little bit more, but I think it's going to look nicer with those on. So let me grab them, show you what they look like, and then we'll install them and see how they look like on the bike and if it's got slightly better views than it had as standard. So I bought these directly from the SW-Motech website. If you put your vehicle model in, it tells you all the accessories that are basically available for these. These are the SVL00503-11400/B. As you can see, mirror extension kit, and basically you don't need, I think, the SW-Motech mirrors this. I think you can extend any mirrors with it. Basically you can remove the standard ones, it kind of puts it on in kind of like a little L bracket and extends things a little bit. So let's just have a quick look in the box, see how things come. So pretty standard packaging. Inside are the parts. So you get some spacers, which I think is going to depend on the size of the existing mirror outlet. Some new bolts and some caps for the top of the mirror extenders. The mirror extenders themselves, and they are a really nice kind of sturdy metal material. We'll look at it out the bag in a moment. So obviously two of those. Some mounting instructions. And then a rather chunky document, which I think has, I don't think some sort of regulatory information, but not related to the instructions. That's just here. It's basically information to click a QR code. And onto the mirrors. So this is the sports set. They do other ones as well. The sports sets come in a short and long version. I went for the long ones because again I'm trying to make sure I can see past the shoulders. And you can also extend these as well. So again, information on there. Again, specific compatibility with the bike. So these are MIR 00850110001, and they are black anodized aluminium and have an adjustable range, I think, of around 3 centimeters in terms of up or down, that you can adjust them from their standard. And again, come pretty nicely packaged, so they're not going to get scratched up in transit. Another QR code for us to scan and look at, and then this is the mirrors themselves. And what I like most about them, Rizoma is another type of mirror that is often available as aftermarket, similar kind of styling, but again a really good size piece of mirror, so you can actually still see what's going on behind you. So let's move over to the bike, remove one of the mirrors, install the mirror extender and pop this on and look at the adjustability. It doesn't look like there's any tools in here actually, which is a bit surprising. I thought there might be some additional bolts or something that came with this to facilitate the mounting, but I'll double check the instructions. Hopefully there's nothing missing. Okay, so do a little overlay of the instructions. They're not the best, to be honest, a little bit disappointed by SW-Motech. My only experience with them prior to this is their tank bags, which I think is amazing, but we'll see how we get on. I'm not 100% convinced I've got all the required parts, but we'll see. So to get access and remove the existing mirrors, basically pull up this kind of rubber cover, and then that exposes two kind of nuts that sit together. You need two 15mm spanners to separate these. So I think I'm going to need possibly both parts of this. So what I'll do is I'll undo the top mirror piece, which will then disconnect from this lower part, and then we'll see what bit we need to keep. So one 15mm spanner on the bottom, one on the top, and then just hopefully separate them. It's on quite tight enough so I don't want to smash it against the tank. Okay. Opposite thread. So on this right hand side one, turning it clockwise is loosening that. Let's see on the bottom here. Oh, okay. And the bottom one is anti-clockwise, so again, that's tough. Probably got Loctite or something in there from when it was originally made. Okay, so we have two pieces, the original kind of nut and holder for the existing mirror, just there, which I put to one side, and then the mirror itself, so which hopefully will focus in on. And then we have just basically a standard opening here now on the mirror. So let's get the extension kit and see how that fits in on the top. Okay, so looking at the instructions, there doesn't appear to be a left one or a right one. They seem to be universal. So basically what it says is we put one of these spacers on first, just here. That will adjust somehow. There we go. One spacer. Then the extension bracket, and then the bolt goes in the top. So let's see if we can do that. So spacer just on the top here, then the mount, and the mount goes in this way. And there's a little cap cover that goes over the top. So again, that should just thread in to the existing hole. Then you need an 8mm Allen key to do that up. Obviously, we'll tighten that once we've got the mirror in place. Make sure it doesn't interact with any of the switch gear on here. So here we have the mode selections on this side, so we need to be conscious of that. And then when it's finished and we've fully tightened it up, there is this SW-Motech cap cover, which again is not zooming in for you. Just here, it's got the SW-Motech logo on it. And that just goes in here, so we push it down to cover the hole. So let's now have a look. I'm not quite sure how the mirrors are going to connect into here. So as expected, now I'm finding myself in a bit of a predicament. So this is the mirror that, again, ordinarily I could mount here to the existing hardware and have it come out just about there, but obviously I'm looking to extend it so I have better coverage coming out all the way over here, but I have nothing to connect this to the extension bracket. So I need to recheck the instructions, but I don't recall on the SW-Motech website saying I needed to buy anything in addition. Because even if I hadn't bought the extension kit, again, I'm assuming that I could have kind of used that bulb, but that wouldn't have worked either because that would sit proud on there. So either I've been sent a mirror pack that has something missing from it, or for some reason, unfortunately, you're supposed to buy an additional bolt kit. So I'm kind of scuppered at the minute in terms of being able to install these, because I'll be back to this video when I work out what I'm doing. Okay, so crisis averted. I look back in the box this came in, and it came in this kind of bubble wrap bag, and at the bottom of this bubble wrap bag was another bit of accessories kit. I'm assuming it's supposed to be in the box, or what, I'm not quite sure, because there's a little cutout where perhaps some bolts should go, but this is what we need. So there's a spacer in there and then the bolts. So we don't need the spacer because we have the extension kit, but we do need the bolt. So we'll just grab that out. But before we put things in, I guess another couple of things to talk about on the mirror itself. So you have to kind of move the mirror into a somewhat awkward position, but you can just about see here, hopefully, there is 2 Allen key bolts, and you require a 2mm Allen key in there. But basically, if you loosen those off, which I'll just demonstrate here, it gives you just a little bit extra extension capability with this mirror. So again, I've loosened them off. As you see here, you can move it up and down 3 centimeters, and there's some markings on the back here. Hopefully it will zoom in on. So as you adjust this forwards and backwards, you can decide 1, 2 or 3 centimeters. So I think that's really helpful if, especially you don't have the mirror extension. I'm going to tighten those back up because I'm not going to use that feature. Again, just a little bit fiddly to get to, but not a major problem. So again, for us to install these, another thing that we will need is also a 3mm Allen key. So once we put them in here with the 8mm Allen key, there is then an Allen key here that we use to adjust the angle. So we'll come back to that in a minute, the 3mm one. So first things we need to do is pop out the cover from in here. When it comes to the mirror itself, obviously you have the flat bottomed piece just here, which we're going to mount over here. The only thing that, again, not ideal, I'm not sure how it showed up on camera, this is kind of like a rougher grey colour, which does match in, I guess, with the original mounts, and then this actual thing being kind of black. It would have been nice if it kind of all kind of fit in together, but I did like a quick mock-up. You definitely really want to have the extenders if you're trying to get additional visibility, not just doing a style change, which is, I want a little bit more style but practicality as well. So we'll pop this in. So again, 8mm bolt into this hole, just finger tighten it up to start with. And again, I would just be gentle, keep a hold of it, because it's going to be very wibbly wobbly until we get everything tightened up. So again, tighten up the 8mm bolt. As we can see here, it's kind of all over the place, which is fine. So I'm going to decide my angling here. So I want to keep clear of the buttons where I can. Just ran out of space, so I had to restart the video. So I'm just trying to angle the position of this so that it's clearing the mode selector button, but also can access the hazards. So I'm going to kind of line that up here at this kind of angle, tighten that up. And again, I think it's something like 6 Newton meters of torque, so we can double check that later. So I'm happy with that position. And then for the mirror, if I look at kind of where things were on the other side, if I adjust this to its functional position, so you have to turn these around a little bit. Obviously you can check if you've got the left or right hand side, because the SW-Motech bit will be at the top there. So then if I get to where I'm trying to get to position wise, I think about there is probably going to work quite well. Tighten that up in terms of that position, which is nice. Then we need to grab for that 3mm Allen key. to then decide on the angle here. So that doesn't need too much tightening. I think it's only a couple of meters of torque to that position, and then again we can adjust it. So that's kind of what things look like in the mounted position. Let's jump on the bike and see, you know, it might look better. And I'll put the caps in once we're all finished, and we don't need to tighten anything up anymore, but that's the initial first impressions of mounting these long sports mirrors with the SW-Motech mirror extenders. And again, just for some comparison, compared to the originals, which would be essentially like this, you can see we've achieved a bit of height and a bit further out, so it should be clearing the shoulder. Okay, so first initial impressions, definitely can feel it's higher, and when I look directly behind myself, I have kind of visibility to about here in the right hand side one, and then outside I have much more visibility and clear behind me. Pretty much so I can adjust it all together. I can hardly see my arm in that mirror at all. I think I might need to adjust them forwards a little bit. The other thing, I'm not sure if it's just the cover that's on here. If I just pull that out of the way a moment. I think that these mirrors are slightly tinted, so that's actually going to make it better for when riding at night compared to the original ones. But yeah, I think actually I might angle it out a little bit more. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with them. Obviously we can see how things go over time when we ride that in a bit more detail. Follow me on Instagram. I've got a trip coming up to Belgium where I get to put these on a longer test. But apart from that initial concern that I was missing some bolts, things have turned out pretty well. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this video kind of helps give you just a little bit of insight into it. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll read them and get back to you. But thanks very much for taking the time for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done already. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.